for you.
These must have got false bottom, because they look empty to me.
Not for long. You taking us shopping right now.
For what?
Things you're gonna need in case you can't get out of your house after a natural disaster.
We know when we had one hurricane around here.
That's it. We get 2 lakhs. It ain't only hurricane, we got to worry about, we could have tsunami or we could have earthquake. And they don't give you no time to go shopping.
What kind of earthquake?
Scientists just find one faulty line over there by my corner. And even though they say it's stationary, it's there. So we need to go and get our survival kit.
Like what?
What you mean, like what? Plastic bag to put your important papers in, like water, medication, flashlight, radio, canned goods, things you need, things you might need, just in case you can't get out of your house after a natural disaster. These 2 plastic containers, the children them could paint them up in their special colors so they could know what they're looking for when you send them to look for it.
That's one thing I like about you. You always ready.
Your #1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that is going to do it for us here in the North. I'm Ramiko Knowles.
And I'm Jay Philippe.
Thanks so much for watching. Here's a live look at the Bahamas tonight. Coming your way next.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Ahead at 11 this Tuesday night, a brazen daylight shooting leaves 1 man dead, another hospitalized. The latest on the incident coming up here tonight. The number of people out of work in the country has risen. A complete breakdown of the latest labor survey statistics just ahead. And tough talk tonight from the U.S. president as he addresses the global community at the United Nations. What his words mean to the region's fight against climate change. Those stories, the rest of the day's news this late night, Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025.
Bahamas tonight at 11. The final word starts now.
Hello to you, and we're glad you're up with us this Tuesday evening. Joblessness increases. After shattering a 16-year hike, unemployment figures have made a return to double digits, with females accounting for those making up the majority out of work. Magush Lapinda leading us off here at 11.
Those numbers laid bare in first quarter results of 2025's labor force survey, the findings of which show a 2% uptick in the country's jobless rate, pushing the much-touted 8.8% achieved May 2023 to 10.8%. Further, the unemployment rate was higher among females at 11.2% compared to males at 10.4%. Now, nationally, women between the ages of 20 and 44 years and again 45 and 54 years were more likely to be unemployed. And this while youth employment came in at 20.9%, with the unemployment rate among young women at 21.7% and young men 20.3%. Now, percentages aside, by head count, some 25,925 people were added to the unemployment line this past January, with females making up 51.3% or 13,295 individuals. Of that 25,000+ people, 19,970 were here in New Providence, 3,500 in Grand Bahama, and 1,455 in Abaco. And on all islands, women outnumbered men. On the contrary, as of January, 214,725 people were clocking into a job, with males comprising more than half, or 50.7%. Of those employed, 65,225 individuals were underemployed, that is, working part-time while wanting additional hours. Meantime, outside the labor force, we're talking those individuals available to work but not looking for a job, 3,720 people, or 3.5% of those surveyed. The reasons vary, from 1,730 who are tired of looking for a job or no job in the area, to the 1,120 lacking job experience, to the 870 who are considered either too young or too old. For the Bahamas Tonight at 11, I'm Makushla Pinder.
Thank you, Makushla. Well, meantime, the Bahamas Union of Teachers says it's pleased that after so many years, the government has conducted a salary review in order to close the salary gap. But while president of that union, Belinda Wilson, acknowledges this is good news for all civil servants, she admits there are some unresolved issues. The president and Bahamas Public Services Union President Kinsley Ferguson led a contingent to a September 3rd meeting with the Prime Minister with some instructions he gave that she feels have yet to be fulfilled.
This is welcomed news not only for teachers, but for the entire public service. At this meeting, the Prime Minister instructed that I be provided with 1, the salary review full report, 2, outline of the cabinet conclusion for the salary review, and 3, the list of teachers and public servants, the categories that they're in, and the amount of raise they will receive.
Wilson also reflecting on a follow-up meeting that is, with the financial secretary back on September 9th. They were informed that teachers and other public servants were not included in the salary review as it was targeted for middle managers and above. She disclosed there was no follow-up meeting prior to the public announcement that other public servants will receive pay raises as well.
We do not have any information or documentation other than what was sent out in the press. Again, as union leaders, once there is a change in the terms and conditions of service, there's a salary increase or emoluments or increase in benefits, the union shall be included and we shall receive the information and the documentation.
Final note on this matter here, the Minister of Public Service, the Honourable Pia Glover-Roll, told ZNS News yesterday that these increases are as a result of a review of the Ministry of Finance. Turning now to news from the crime beat this late night. Detectives here in the capital putting the clues together on the country's latest homicide. LaDawn Davis was on the scene of this brazen daylight shooting incident which occurred off St. James Road.
Bullets rang out just about 3 p.m. here in the St. James Road area where 54-year-old Demetrius Cooper was gunned down and killed. Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Sharia King gave reporters this update.
Masked men approached these men that was in the yard at the gathering and opened fire on these men, hitting one of those men who is in his early 20s and is presently in critical condition at the hospital. That victim was transported to hospital in private vehicle. As these masked men were leaving, they continued firing in the direction, hitting 2 other victims, fatally wounding one who is in his mid-50s and injuring another male who is in his early 70s. The male in his 70s is in stable condition at the hospital. He was transported to hospital via EMS personnel.
Chief Superintendent Sharia King says she's deeply concerned about the high level of gun violence happening among school-aged children within this community.
And we are truly grateful and thanking God that none of them were injured in this particular incident. But again, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, especially the Northeastern Division, is going to be within these areas as they have been, and making certain that the residents feel safe in these communities.
This is the country's 62nd homicide for the year. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm LaDawn Davis.
Well, today's incident comes on the heels of a shooting last night in the Quarry Mission Road area after a man in his 20s had just arrived home shortly after 9 last night when he was approached by 2 masked individuals emerging from a nearby track road. Police report that the assailants discharged a firearm, striking the victim multiple times before fleeing the scene in an unknown direction. The victim, we are told, is currently listed in serious condition. A motorcyclist is being targeted for severe pain in hospital tonight after he was reportedly accosted and robbed by 4 men along the Somilo-Butler Highway around 2 this morning. The victim reported to police, reporting that his white XTZ motorcycle had been stolen. Upon arrival at the scene, officers spoke with the complainant, who stated that he was traveling south on Milo-Butler Highway when he was struck from behind by a black Toyota Passo. The victim further reported that the 4 men then emerged from the vehicle, one armed with a handgun, who demanded his motorcycle. The victim complied, and the suspects fled south in the direction of the motorcycle. An intense investigation into this matter is ongoing. Bahamas Christian Council President Apostle Delton Fernando weighing in on the 20-year sentence handed down to a 50-year-old deacon who was found guilty of molesting a 10-year-old girl in his care. The little girl was living with the deacon and his wife following the death of her mother. In January and February of 2023, the convict allegedly raped the young girl on 3 occasions in his home. Apostle Fernando is adamant that the nation's children must be protected.
It's very concerning. If you read the details of the story, he is a convicted felon. I know people highlight that he said he was a deacon, but the highlight of the story was he's already not a trusted member of the clergy in the Bahamas. We stand against that kind of behavior, if it's in the cloth, if it's in the parliament, wherever it is. It's unacceptable.
Also here tonight, a senior police officer's warning to parents to observe the protocols and measures in place when entering school campuses or face the full brunt of the law. His comments coming amid recent disturbances on school campuses involving parents. According to Assistant Police Commissioner for School Policing and Public Safety, Dr. Chaswell Hanna, a number of parents are facing charges stemming from some of these recent incidents.
We charge 3 parents for associated offenses. So, as I said before, parents come on campus creating disturbance, we are going to arrest you and place you before the court. So, we've charged 3 parents, okay? And just the protocols are fine. We just need people to adhere to them. Do not come on the school campus as if it's an unsecured environment. You know, it is where we protect our most precious resources, our children.
Later in the broadcast, look at sports and weather, but up next, the Prime Minister meets world leaders in New York this week. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight at 11. There's much more to stay up for.
Imagine a world where every brand knows your name and every store awaits your arrival. Elite shopping. Travel where luxury is a lifestyle and every journey feels like home. Dine where every flavor is just for you, every table reserved, and every moment a taste of perfection. Make every big moment even bigger. Experience banking where wealth isn't just managed, it's maximized. Step into a world without limits. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Honey barbecue, sweet and spicy, all new. Signature, what's your flavor? Roasted garlic parmesan, tastes so good, chicken. Those pepper wings.
Now available at Popeyes in Nassau.
As we continue here on this Tuesday evening, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis leading the Bahamian delegation at this week's United Nations General Assembly in New York City. Before his official address, Prime Minister Davis, along with Foreign Affairs Minister the Honorable Fred Mitchell, Social Services the Honorable Minister the Honorable Miles LaRota, Bahamas Ambassador to the United States His Excellency Wendell Jones, and other officials attended this morning's general debate opening session. Now, the Prime Minister also met with the Commonwealth Secretary General, President of Kosovo, and the Secretary General of the Coalition of Small Island States. This week's UN General Assembly ends on Saturday. Meantime, it has been 8 years since United States President Donald Trump has addressed the United Nations General Assembly. And today, as the body began its annual meeting marking its 80th year, it was Mr. Trump taking center stage, outlining an agenda that doused cold water on the fight against climate change and drew a hard line on immigration.
Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail, or you're going back to where you came from, or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means.
Immigration and what the U.S. president calls the energy hoax are, as he puts it, the double-tailed monster posing the biggest threat to the globe. But Mr. Trump also took aim at the United Nations itself, already upset that on his way to making his speech, the escalator failed, and later it was the teleprompter he would use to deliver his often scathing remarks. His frustration Tuesday was clear.
What is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up.
But perhaps most discouraging to countries like the Bahamas at the front lines of the battle against climate change, Donald Trump's view that global warming, sea level rising, and climate change are all a hoax.
It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion.
Mr. Trump left little reason to think there will be much, if any, support from his administration on reducing global emissions or converting to renewable energy.
The entire globalist concept of asking successful industrialized nations to inflict pain on themselves and radically disrupt their entire societies must be rejected completely and totally, and it must be immediate.
Prime Minister Davis, who has championed the cause of climate change since coming to office 4 years ago, is expected to address the General Assembly later this week. In other news here at 11, the new multi-million-dollar specialty hospital one step closer to becoming a reality. Fern Carey tells us tonight that negotiations are winding down, with discussions now centered on key components central to the project.
Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Davel, says talks with officials from the Chinese Export-Import Bank on the new specialty hospital are in the final stages, with negotiations centered on the labor component for the facility. The 200-bed hospital will be built on 50 acres of land in Paul Track here in New Providence and will service primarily women and children. Dr. Davel assured that efforts are underway to secure the best deal for Bahamian workers once construction begins.
Taking into consideration that all concessional loans with the Chinese Exim Bank at 2% interest rate, there is a Chinese contractor and there's also a Chinese labor component.
The government has already signed a $267 million framework agreement with the Chinese government for the new hospital, with the Chinese Export-Import Bank funding 73% of the project and the rest of financing being secured through local and international means. The health minister says a contract has been awarded for the land to be prepared ahead of construction on the site.
Very soon, we will begin to see activity at the site, because if you assess the feasibility study, you will see that land preparation was not a part for the contractor or for the Exim Bank. It was the responsibility of the Ministry of Health. And so we have gone through the procurement process to award a contract for land preparation, and that would happen shortly.
It is anticipated that labor negotiations for the specialty hospital will be completed by the end of October.
We are in the final stages with the discussion with the Exim Bank with all of the parameters associated with the loan itself and the labor component. That is not completed yet. I'm hoping that I would be able to complete that before the end of October, and I would be completely transparent with that document.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Fern Carey.
Thank you, Fern. For Shantytown residents living on New Providence, Andros, Eleuthera, and other family islands, Minister of Public Works and Family Island Affairs, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, today declared that the ministry remains firm in its pursuit to rid the Bahamas of illegal communities.
We're moving pretty swiftly on that. We have already served notices in Andros as of late, Montgomery in New Providence, off of Fire Trail Road as well as Russell Island in Eleuthera. We're finalizing the tender process for some of these communities, and I think on Russell Island, I think the notice was provided until October to ensure that they remove whatever they have there and find another location.
The minister assuring today that the 28-day notices given to Shantytown residents aren't indicative of time until demolition, but it's what the law requires. And it gives sufficient time for relocation and occupants to take the initiative to demolish illegal structures themselves. But if any of the affected residents meet these requirements, they can seek help.
Social services does help with Bahamian citizens and with permanent residents. We understand that this is a process. It's more than just knocking down structures, right? We have to get proper assessment of who lives there, because people do live in these communities. Even though they were built illegally, they built without approvals, people do live in these communities. So we have to ensure that proper data is collected. How many Bahamians are there? How many permanent residents are there? How many illegals are there, to ensure that immigration deals with that aspect. Also, permit holders. Do they have permits? Who are the persons that hold these permits? So ensure once social services does that, they deal with that aspect. Environment deals with what they're supposed to. The AG's office is a part of it to ensure it's in line with the law.
All of tonight's rain still not enough to put a hold on sports, says Amajal Knowles with a preview of what's ahead this late night.
Bahamas moves up one spot in the FIBA World Rankings. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
Are you a talented musician ready to take your passion to the next level? Then the Bahamas National Youth Choir is the place to be. Auditions are now open for the month of September to persons ages 15 to 25 years old. We offer two exciting options: concert choir for those who enjoy classical and traditional music, and show choir for those who want to perform in a more theatrical setting. Don't miss your chance to be a part of an incredible musical journey. To set up your audition appointment, email us at bnycsecretary@gmail.com. Let your voice be heard with the Bahamas National Youth Choir.
It's me, Wednesday Addams. Your life just took a dark turn. I regret to inform you that I have devised the meal of misfortune with Wendy's. It's pure torture for your taste buds, with 4 nightmarish dips of dread. Don't waste my time asking which ones you'll get. You must surrender to your fate. Enjoy the anguish.
Welcome to your Tuesday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports. Despite going winless in the most recent window of the FIBA America Basketball Tournament, Bahamas men's national basketball team moving up one spot in the latest FIBA World Rankings. The 242 now sits at number 51, just ahead of Bulgaria and Nigeria, and narrowly missing out on cracking the top 50. Bahamas had tough losses against the USA, Brazil, and Uruguay, but played well and qualified for the tournament for the first time in nearly 3 decades. The ranking indicates illustrates how far the Bahamas' men's basketball program has come after narrowly missing out on securing an Olympic bid back in July 2024. Then the Bahamas would fall to Spain 86-78 in the final game of the FIBA Olympic qualifying tournament. Bahamas is still in search of its first Olympic berth in men's basketball. And in track news, for just the 7th time in the history of the World Athletics Championships, the Bahamas finished with no medals, but competed valiantly against the top countries of the world. Almost 200 nations competed in the global meet, and the Bahamas finished in a 7-weight tie for 61st on the placing chart with 4 points, with 3 athletes making the top 8 of their respective disciplines. Devin Charlton was 6th in the women's 100-meter hurdles. Kendrick Thompson ended the meet with an 8th-place finish in the men's decathlon among 24 competitors. And Anthony Strachan made the finals in the women's 200 meters for a 2nd time in a row, but was disqualified for a false start. About 2,200 athletes from around the world competed in the 9-day meet, which wrapped up on Sunday night inside the Japan National Stadium in Tokyo, Japan. In minor league baseball news, top name in baseball prospect Sebastian Walcott receiving yet another major accolade. The Frisco Rough Riders infielder and the Rangers' #1 prospect, as well as the #4 prospect overall in all of baseball, was named the top MLB prospect in the Texas League. Shortstop put together one of the best seasons ever by a Texas League teenager, becoming the first Texas League teenager since Roberto Alomar in 1987 to hit double-digit home runs and steal 30 or more bases in the same season, homering 13 times with 32 swiped bags. Walcott hit .255 with a career best in home runs, walks, RBIs, steals, and hits. He finished the season batting .391 in 12 September games. Also getting some hardware was Knoxville Smokies infielder B.J. Murray, who was named a AA Southern League All-Star after leading the league in RBIs and finishing 2nd in home runs. And in bodybuilding news, the CAC Bodybuilding Championships set to take place in St. Lucia this weekend. The Bahamas' team will leave tomorrow, but just before competition begins, the Zenistol sports team caught up with the Bahamas Bodybuilding, Wellness and Fitness Federation President Wellington Sears on his expectations for the athletes.
Well, I expect to be in the top 5. Last time we had a 5-member team. Without the help of the ministry, it would not have been possible, and we were able to get a position. We are aiming to get in the top 5 position this year.
And that's a look at your sports on this Tuesday. I'm Amajal Knowles, signing out until tomorrow.
Termites and need to get rid of them fast, trust Rent-A-Kill Initial. With over 60 years experience in the Bahamas, the global brand, training, and expertise can't be beat. Only Rent-A-Kill Initial gives you a 3-year warranty and payment plan options on termite fumigation. No one can match the range of treatments we offer, such as fumigation, pre-construction treatments, termite monitoring, and more. No matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come to you. When it comes to complete termite eradication, there's only one name, Rent-A-Kill Initial.
And we want to waste no time now getting out to Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. We experienced some weather here this evening, Basil, but things appear to have quieted down some.
Yes, Corporal, we did have some heavy rain showers here at the studios. That has cleared up, but there'll be some more of that come tomorrow morning, which will be heavy at times again. Now, back to the tropics. There are a couple areas we're keeping our eyes on. This one in particular, the Hurricane Center just bumped this up to a 70% chance of some tropical development over the weekend, and that could impact the weather, particularly over the southeast Bahamas, as an area of low pressure is expected to form, move towards the north and northeast, but a trailing trough will maintain some showers over the southeast Bahamas over the weekend and the early part of next week. And then there's another area just behind that. This one has a 90% chance of development. The good news is it will stay well to the east of the Bahamas. And then, of course, we have Gabrielle, which is now a Category 3 hurricane. It has reduced in intensity, now packing winds of 125 miles per hour, moving towards the east-northeast at 21 miles per hour, and that will take it over some cooler waters of the central Atlantic, and that will see some weakening to a Category 1, and that will take place by the middle of this week, heading towards the Azores Island. And the computer models are all suggesting that it will reach the Azores Island as a hurricane of a very lower intensity. And as we take you into our satellite imagery, you can see that troughing that generated those heavy showers earlier this afternoon is lifting towards the north. The Abacos right now continue to experience some heavy showers and thunderstorms, also the Grand Bahama area as well. So in other words, most of the northwest Bahamas will be experiencing pockets of showers and thunderstorms during the course of the night and tomorrow morning, which I said earlier will be heavy at times. Temperatures around the islands: Marshall, Barbacoa at 83 degrees, Green Turtle Key at 80 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, the Berry Islands, 80 as well. Alice Bimini, 85, 82 in Harbour Island, Roxanne, Lutra, 84 degrees, 84 in Artisan, Cat Island, by the way. Black Point, Exuma, Kemp Space, Andros, 82, Fresh Creek, Central Andros at 80, and then Georgetown, Exuma, 85 degrees. Rim Key and San Salvador, 84, 85 in Betsy Bay, Maguana, Crooked Island, 86, Clarence Town, Long Island, and Ragged Island, also reported 86. Acklands at 85, Magic Town in Agua 86, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 87 degrees. And your forecast tonight, we're looking at mostly cloudy and warm thunderstorms in spots this evening, followed by thunderstorms again later on tonight. So we had that first round already. We'll get some more of that later on tonight with a low temperature of 79 degrees. And then tomorrow, this is how things will unfold for you. We're looking at drenching thunderstorms in the morning time, so sun and clouds will develop after those heavy morning showers and thunderstorms. And then over the weekend, we can look for some tropical impact late in the week as a result of that area we talked about, which the Hurricane Center is giving it a 70% chance of some development, and that certainly will impact particularly the southeast Bahamas over the weekend. Your high temperature tonight, 89 degrees. And the extended weather forecast looking like this. We're going to have showers right through the 7-day cycle, but they will be off and on, particularly in the late morning and early afternoon hours. Temperature-wise, 90 degrees or slightly below during the daytime.
Well, as everybody here at the station learned tonight, Basil, pack an umbrella with you. Word to the wise is sufficient. That is our broadcast here this Tuesday evening. I'm Corbell Pyfrom. And for all of us, take care, be well, and remember, we'll be looking to see you again right back here tomorrow evening. Good night.
At Centerville, I'm LaDawn Davis. This is ZMS.